Yo, 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 how you guys doing? Hope everything is well. So, yeah, let me know in the comments that you can hear me, clearly. Say in the comments you can hear me clearly. So I'm Steph. Some people call me Uncle Steph. The ex-girlfriends call me other things that I shall not say. Anyhow, yeah, as soon as we get a few people online, I will go into the subject at hand. I'll let maybe 40, 50 people come in. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Welcome to the show. Code Long and Profit. And I hope everything is well. And let's see if I'm broadcasting across X. Again, I'm just waiting for a few more people to show up. And then I will jump on the stream. How are we doing here? Is this actually working? Just checking out my other... All right, so we're good, We're on X as well. Okay, good stuff. Don't forget to leave a like and leave a comment. So, all right, how we doing? Well, it's now 15 people. I'm just waiting for about 30 people to get on. Then I'll jump into the subject at hand, which is how to retain clients after you finish the first job for them. Web design, web development, doesn't really matter. So what are you going to do? Hey, man, how you doing? All right, so Marcelo can hear me. You can hear me. Cool. Let me just get going. Hey, how you doing, man? Hopefully one day the weather will get reasonable down here. It was actually nice yesterday, but today sucks. What are you going to do? I should have stayed in the U.S. a little bit longer. Huh? Wait for the weather to clear up. All right, so small group today. So if you're watching the replay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump right into it. So the late comers, they will have to go watch the replay. So today's subject is based on this was sent to me. Is this coming through? Why isn't this coming? Oh, no, it's wrong. Here it is. There we go. So if you look right here, no, wrong way. If you look right here in the orange box, there's a question that was sent to me by somebody, I think on Twitter. Uncle Greg says, Deaf strategies to retaining clients after building their website or app. I hear reoccurring customers is easier for revenue and the overall business. 100%. One of the oldest rules in business, it's a lot easier to get an old client to purchase from you again than to get new clients. New client acquisition, as they say in the marketing world. New client acquisition is the most expensive client. So you want to retain your clients that have already purchased from you. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips here in my book of tips. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Then we'll get into some of the questions. So what's the first thing you got to do to get repeat business from your older clients? Number one, do great work. I guess I shouldn't have to point this out, but I will. The most important thing you can do, the most important strategy, if you will, is to make sure that they're very happy with the work, that you do great work. So if you do great work, chances are they're going to come back to you again. If you don't do great work, then you're not going to get them. So make sure that everybody's happy. So how do you keep the clients happy? My second point, have a solid contract so expectations are understood. This keeps people satisfied. So one of the things I talk about in freelancing is that you should have a contract. It could be email, simple email thing, but you should have a contract that's very clear as to what to expect in the relationship in terms of due dates, how many revisions they get, when you're going to deliver, all this kind of stuff. How they pay, etc. It should be specified in the contracts, and not so much where you would use the contract or have the contract with the expectation that you're going to go to court against them. Because if you feel that you might have to litigate, you may have to take legal action against a client before you start, then you don't want to touch that client. If you're putting together a contract because you're thinking, ooh, I may need a contract because I may have to sue these people, then you don't want to do business with these people. You go into business arrangements with anybody, even as a freelancer, with an expectation of goodwill between both people, between you and your client. You should go in there, in non-nerd words, you should go in there into a business arrangement with somebody where you feel good about the arrangement, where you don't have any red flags that are appearing. It's like dating as well. If you have a bad feeling about somebody, you just want to stay clear. It's not worth the potential risk. So yeah, so the main point of the contract is just to clarify between you and your client what it is you're going to deliver. That is the whole point of the contract. Everybody knows because it's there. As we used to say, it's on paper. It might be on PDF at this point, but it's clear what you're going to deliver, how you're going to deliver it, what the expectations are. The whole point of making this clear and transparent is that it helps satisfy expectations. So everybody has the same expectations. Never assume that your client can read your mind, and never assume you can read your client's mind. You'd be very surprised when you put things down on paper, when you clarify things in text, how you may have thought your client was thinking in a certain way, but they were thinking in a totally different way. Happens often enough. So the whole point of the contract is to settle expectations so everybody knows what to expect in the process. And in the end, this will have a huge impact in terms of whether or not you get repeat work from the client, because if you have a solid contract, you deliver on a contract, everybody knows up front, then everybody's going to be happy. If they're happy, when they need more work done, they'll come back to you. So that's a huge aspect to this. Next, what you can do once you deliver the website, check up on your client, maybe once every 6 months. Hey, how's it going? I want to make sure everything was cool. If you need any updates to the site, if you had any questions about the work we did, let me know. This is an invitation. What this does, two things. Number one, it creates goodwill with the client because you're checking in on them, make sure everything's cool. And number two, it puts you in their mind's eye, meaning you appear, okay, so I'm Uncle Steph. So Uncle Steph is the freelance contractor. I sent him an email. I'm just checking it out, make sure everything is okay. If you had any questions about the site, see how the site is going. How are people reacting to your new site that I built for you? What do you think? And the other thing, it just puts you in their mind's eye. You're not for a forgotten long distance memory. That's all it is. So it's good psychology. It works. The way our lizard brains are designed, as you know if you've done my Lizard Wizard course, is that our lizard brains automatically trust people and places and brands that they are familiar with. It's just one of those mechanisms built into our brain. You see, our lizard brain, which is our ancient brain, which dominates our decisions in life, believe it or not, one of the things it's trying to do is save energy. And to save energy, what it does, one of the strategies it uses to save energy is that it has automatic default behaviors. So one of those automatic default behaviors is what is familiar is safe and can be trusted. So the more often your client hears from you, not too much, you don't want to call much more than, or contact them once more than every 6 months, because you do too much, you look desperate, and you start annoying people, especially small business owners, which will largely be your client, especially as your freelancer. So yeah, once every 6 months is enough, And don't go crazy, don't bother them. But again, it has those benefits I just described. Last point, and I've seen this, don't try to trap people into dependence on you. That's a big no-no. First of all, it's immoral. Second of all, it's going to create bad blood if you trap people. So don't do that. Don't do that. Don't trap people don't force them to a certain type of contract unless they want it. You can offer it. Say, listen, you want a maintenance contract? I'll charge you this much, whatever. You can offer maintenance contracts, some sort of retainer that kind of works out for both of you. Some people might get into hosting, where you set up a deal with a hosting company and you manage the hosting. You may want to do that. I did that for a while, but it becomes a pain in the butt when you're managing hosting accounts, because you're going to get calls about, hey, my email doesn't work, and they didn't, they lost their passwords or something. You don't want that unless you want to eventually build up a hosting business, which could be very viable. I had a hosting business once. I eventually sold it. And it was great for like 20 years. It was like my social security check. I would get my cut of the hosting. It's pretty good. I still get cuts, but it's quite small now compared to what it used to be. Anyway, there you go. So those are my tips. Do great work. Have a solid contract so everybody's happy. Keep in touch with them. Maximum every 6 months. Don't overkill it. And don't try to trap people into some sort of contract or retainer. Be upfront. Be upfront. So there you go. Those are my tips. How long did that take me? Not long. 10 minutes. So pretty good, pretty good. So that's a good question by Uncle Greg. Greg is actually in my mentoring program. So that's an older question he posted on I think it was on Twitter or X. Anyhow, there you go. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer. Good to see you live. Thanks for joining. Cool. SEO, marketing, etc. Do I get into post development or stick to what I do, development, and move on to the next client? So I set up continuous subscription stream, maybe. Yeah, that's, one of the things, if I talked about this, I've been touching upon this, I'm going to expand upon this a little bit more in other videos. Modern day web designers are far more sophisticated today than they were 10, 15 years ago. It's not even close. And a modern day web designer, they know how to code. You're going to know your HTML and your CSS well, maybe a touch of JavaScript, maybe a touch of PHP, but they're much more about infrastructure. And one of those things would be SEO, web marketing, social integration, newsletter integration, that kind of stuff. So modern day web designers in the freelance space, especially, they're going to be aware of these tools, newsletter systems, automation systems like Zapier, and so forth. So yeah, SEO, sure, why not? Web marketing, sure, why not? They kind of go hand in hand. They're different, but it's part of the same context. So yeah, for sure, for sure. Where do we find clients to do the initial volunteer freelance work? Well, there's different ways of doing it. One of the things you could do is just go to local independent restaurants or local independent artists or local independent, there you go, local nonprofits, and just start approaching them, start talking to people. You got to get your portfolio site up. But yeah. Greetings, Uncle. Hey, greetings. Hope everything is well with you. Hey, Kevin, hope everything is good. Yeah. Hey, how are you? Oh, by the way, if you like this content, give me a thumbs up. If you hate my content or my hat, give me 2 thumbs down to show you how much you hate me. Hi there, I'm a software developer. I want to transition to WordPress and freelance. With freelance, could you please, how much I can potentially earn? Thanks in advance. Well, it depends on you. When you're a freelancer, your salesmanship skills and your interpersonal skills are as important in many respects as your ability to execute on the job. You can make a lot, but you got to know what you're doing. You got to structure your freelance business accordingly. It's something I talk about all the time is you have to develop really good workflows, number one. So great workflows will increase your productivity. As your productivity increases, you'll be able to make a lot more money. So for example, when you're first starting out, you're a noob, you're not the best at what you do. You can get it done, but you're a little slow, right? Because you're new. So let's say a particular job will take you 10 hours in your first year that you're in the game as a freelancer. But after a couple of years, you've improved your skills, and very importantly, you got really good workflows. You understand how to position jobs with the clients properly. So all of a sudden, what used to take you 10 hours to do, you can now do in 1 or 2 hours. So that's where you start making a lot of money. Because initially, you're bidding 10 hours for a job, but you're not making nearly as much. You're making whatever, 20 an hour. I'll just use a round number just for sake of argument. So that's a $200 job. But later on, as you get good, you got the workflows and boom, 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 boom. So you bid $200 for the job. Of course, you raise your rate and so forth, but you only do it 1 hour, so you make $200 in an hour. It's a simple example, but this is how it really works. Now, I can get into the many, many, many thousands, if not the tens of thousands of dollars, if you structure your business properly, if you understand contract negotiation, you develop good workflows, and you're just getting better as a developer, you know? That's how that works out. Your portfolio, see, the question ATZ was how to get recurring business from existing clients. Your portfolio is not going to have any impact on getting existing clients to come back and use you again. Now, you're right, though. You want to have a nice portfolio if you want to get new clients. But existing clients, they already bought from you, right? So the question was, how do you get more revenue from existing clients? Any advice on cold calling or other outreach methods? Anything you think is better than the other? I would network. Talk to people. I would put my effort in networking, talking to people, letting people know what you're doing. Get your website up. Make sure your website has good SEO, and that's geo-targeted. I've talked about this in other videos. Get your social presence up rather than just calling out code. It's instead of tracking and hunting for clients, you want to, it's more like planting seeds. You know, that's what you want to do. That's in terms of ROI, return on investment time, I would do that. That has been more successful for me rather than cold calling. Because cold calling, you might have to hit 100, 200 people before you get a hit. Are there pros of using Linux over Windows or Mac OS for a developer? I would say no, except maybe Linux distributions are typically more lightweight because you can customize the drivers on the kernel, so you can take an older machine and make it much zippier. So there might be an advantage of using Linux in terms of having being able to stretch out the life cycle of a piece of hardware. That said, there are probably a lot of tools on Mac or Windows, software tools, that you won't be able to get on Linux, so it might cause problems. That all said, you can do very well with Linux, Windows, or Mac as a developer, freelancer, or whatnot. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. In terms of choosing your computer, your operating system, choose what you like overall, because they all have their pros and cons. I've used all three. I've used Linux, I've used Windows, I've used Mac OS. I have 4.5K USD project running. Cool. My client came from YouTube, and I plan to move to Upwork. Very good, man. That's cool. Cool. Can I keep up with the customers there? I'm not sure what you mean, but you mean on Upwork? You read my question, Uncle Steph, and your answer shows you are indeed a 169-year-old and master. Thanks a ton. I'm into freelancing and hoping to get a SaaS land. I'm buzzing like a 7-year-old, and I'm 32. Very cool. Yeah, let us know how the SaaS goes. SaaS, if people don't know, software as a service. So you have a few levels of monetization of your coding skills. So level 1, getting a job. And then there's levels in the jobs: entry-level developer, mid-level, and then maybe go work for a big company, maybe become a CTO manager later on. But that's that track there. Level 2 is freelance. Now, generally speaking, to establish a freelance business is more difficult than getting a job. But with time, practice, and experience and expertise, the freelancer can make a lot more money than the same person working for somebody. It's just a question of the dynamics of the business world. You see, if somebody hires you and they're paying you whatever, I'll use round numbers, 100 grand a year, they got to make $200,000 of productivity from you to make hiring you worthwhile. So if you are a freelancer, you should be able to make 200 grand a year for yourself. You get the idea, but you have to build up to it. So getting a job is the easiest. freelancing is a little more difficult to get established for most people. These are generalizations. Some people, I've had people come into my mentoring program where they have like 3 clients, 4 clients ready to go, and they don't know anything about development. And I have other people who are very good at development, but they don't have any clients or job prospects because they don't have very good social skills. So you have a mix. Anyhow, so the next level, so you got job is the easiest, freelance is next, SaaS development is next in terms of difficulties. To develop a SaaS is about as successful as the hardest of the 3, but it's also the potential to be the biggest by far. Like a SaaS owner can make huge amounts of money that an employee will never be able to make and a freelancer would never be able to make, potentially. But it's a lot harder typically to build a SaaS business. So I encourage you, if you're young, 32 is relatively young, if you're going to start a business, start it younger is better because you could always mess up and try again or get a job. Here's the worst. This is what when I started building my first SaaS and I was learning how to code, I said, well, as I build the SaaS, I'm going to get better at development. That's number 1. And number 2, my skills will improve. I'll have experience. Well, that's getting better. But I said to myself, worst case scenario, if the SaaS doesn't work out, I will have very, very good skills. And I can market those skills into freelance jobs, or I can market those skills into a job. Fortunately, my businesses did okay. But yeah, so you can always, there's nothing, I would say if you want to build, you have an idea for a SaaS and you're young, especially if you're young, do it. Do it. Better young than older, although I've seen people do it successfully older as well. I started reading the 48 Laws of Power because you recommended it, and I'm enjoying it so far. Hey, cool, man. Glad you like it. Glad you like it. Point is to learn to use your program, market your portfolio, how to make it work once you've satisfied with its completion. Point is to learn. Again, the point of this ATZ, the point of this video, read it. The point of the video is diff strategies to retaining clients after building their website. What you're talking about has all to do with getting new clients. That's another video. Uncle, I started learning Node.js recently. Do you recommend I build my own auth with it or just keep using third-party like Supabase? I never used Supabase, so I don't know how good it is. I imagine if it's widely used, I would use it. My top 3 rules of development. Ready? Number 1, reuse. Number 2, reuse. Number 3, reuse. You don't want to go out and build something that's already there. Don't go looking to code things that you don't need to. If there are auth systems that are tried and tested and true, just implement that. Trust me, because you're going to have plenty of other things to build. Don't go looking for things to build. All right. Let's. Are your bootcamp mentoring program payment monthly or yearly? If I wanted to cancel after a few months, will I get charged for the whole year? Good question. So my bootcamp at UncleSteph.com, you can either pay the monthly payment program, which is not a subscription, it's a payment program. So you pay the 12 payments, 1 payment per month, and then it's paid off. And you can still have full access to the program, and you have no more payments to make. So that's after 12 payments, 12 months, 1 payment a month. Or you can do 1 payment, and it's a year, it's the 1 payment. So instead of the 12 payments, you just pay this 1 payment, so you get a bit of a discount. And you have access for as long as you need the program, almost for life. So if you do the monthly, you can cancel whenever you want. You're not obligated, unlike so many other places. I don't obligate you because sometimes shit happens, right? Sometimes people, work comes up, they get sick or whatever, they change their minds. So yeah, I've had people, it's a small minority, but I've had people, they say after 2 months, 3 months, 6 months even, they say, you know what, I want to pause this or want to cancel this. I don't hold you. You actually, in our application, there is a pause button. So you can pause indefinitely. You hit that pause button, there won't be any other payments made and forever until you unpause it. Or you can just send me an email and cancel it. So yeah, good question, Sumik. You're not obligated. I keep it flexible and loose for everybody. Thank you, Steph. Love the comparison between hunting and seeding. I'm glad I could help. Oh, too much exposure. Hold on. A little bit better. All right. So any other questions? How are we doing for time? All right, almost half an hour. If you like this subject, you like the live stream, please let me know. Give me a thumbs. Let me check on X, see if there's anybody there. Bear with me for a second. Okay, so we got 17 people watching on X. Not bad. All right. There you go. I think I answered the questions. Are there any other questions for this live? If I do shorter lives, I can do more often, right? Much less of a commitment. That's pretty much it. If you're interested in books, if you're a total beginner, I don't have my books here, but you can look in the links below. And hold on. Look in the links below. I have books recommended for beginners, my own book on web design. I also have books recommended for intermediate level developers on refactoring. And there's other books in there as well that I recommend. And that's pretty much it. So what else? If there's no other questions, I will let you guys go. And I'll see you in the next live. So I'll give you guys a few minutes. I'll prepare nice questions for the next streams. Okay, that's cool, man. Yeah, no worries. I'll be back. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon. Nice short stream. And don't be afraid to like and share. Much appreciated.